it's not so easy having your way in court. Despite having been the CJ, and if you watch how the issues have transpired, she went to Supreme Court and lost. She's actually facing some of her colleagues at the committee level, and she's come public with what she feels is an unfair treatment. Your take?
I just want to say good morning to Victoria, the lady downstairs. She cleaned up my face very nicely.
Right, job well done.
Yeah. Patrick gave me coffee. Thank you so much.
Right.
And the rest of the crew, thank you. We appreciate your work. This CJ's case has made me. I've been reading a lot of law. I think by the time
becoming law students.
By the time the case is over, I'll qualify to be called a lawyer. I admire her right to defend herself. It is within her right to defend herself to the best of her ability, and that's what she's doing. I'm sure any of us accused would also attempt to defend ourselves successfully or not. But while I admire her right to defend herself, in the process of defending herself, let's avoid creating problems that infringe on the rights of other people also. We have seen her filing. Now, the Attorney General has come out to say that the application for judicial review that has been filed by the Chief Justice has some issues, which undermines its competence effectively before the courts. He hasn't said so in a vacuum. He's given about 3 or so reasons for which he says that. Now, let's look at the issues that the Attorney General has raised. He talks of a misstatement of capacity. And all judicial review applications must be brought in their correct legal forms. So the Attorney General is correct when he says that there is a certain failure there to join the necessary parties, because then you exclude them from responding in the capacities that they are acting. Although it's not a personal issue, they are acting by the authority of their offices. Now, when you exclude them and issues affect them, they cannot respond. So, I don't know, is she allowed to go back and make the amendments? I mean, that's up to the court. It also says that, I think he correctly evokes something they call judicial economy, right? He is pointing out that the matters that she has raised have either been already addressed by the Supreme Court or are presently pending before the Supreme Court, which is true. You know, some of these issues have already been struck out by the Supreme Court, but the substantive issue is still pending. You know, if the substantive issue is still pending before the Supreme Court, allow the apex court to decide. Now, when you take the issue to a lower court, right, because if you've taken the issue to the High Court, you are undermining the authority of the Supreme Court.
That's where the Attorney General says you are overstepping the judicial boundaries.
Exactly. Right, he's the lawyer. He understands the terms better than me. So if the issue has already been determined by the Supreme Court or is pending before the Supreme Court, exactly what do you mean by taking that same issue to the High Court? So let's assume that the High Court sits on the issue and passes judgment. Are you trying to say that we will uphold that over what the Supreme Court has said or is doing? I think in this case also, I completely agree with the Attorney General, right? Now, he also mentions that Article 146, the processes under Article 146 are insulated by the Constitution. They are clearly spelled out within the Constitution. Every single thing that is presently being done is governed by Article 146, of our own Constitution, 1992 Constitution. So it provides an investigatory committee and a very clear procedure that is being followed. Now, that procedure, it's outside the purview of lower courts. Okay, and lower courts, I mean that respectfully. So you cannot then take the dictates of Article 146 and set it aside and then take the issue to the High Court.
She finds fault with the processes under 146 currently underway.
So you mean she finds fault with the Constitution?
Well, not necessarily with the Constitution, but with the implementation of same, saying that currently the process she's being subjected to is unfair. She feels her rights are being trampled upon. And that's why she's gone to the High Court based on a human rights matter.
I've heard a lot about rights being trampled upon. I still haven't been told exactly which right is being trampled upon. I can argue that someone is doing something against me. But then you have to point at exactly what is being done against you, right? Are you saying that the state has no right to evoke Article 146?
It does.
Are you saying that any part of the procedure has been done wrongly? No. The procedure is being correctly followed. It's okay to be uncomfortable by the proceedings, but do the proceedings actually infringe on your human rights?
Well, according to her, it does.
There are also people who are aggrieved by things she has done, right? And they have also brought their petitions. Exactly. It is important that every person is accorded the respect of following through. You know, Article 146 also tells us that these proceedings should be held quietly in camera. They have already been breached by this whole press conference and exposing so much information, making so many allegations. What I was disappointed by during the press conference was, after the press conference, I was expecting
her to take questions.
Thank you. You know, after you make allegations, open yourself up to interrogation so that people also have the right to ask and get some clarity on the allegations that you have made. Otherwise, you have just come to make allegations against persons, which also infringes on their human rights, right? I could say, I mean, you have made allegations that are untrue, you know, because most of what she said are arguable, okay? Now, after you have made all, this is a serious matter. If you come out, you have decided to make the issue public. One of the reasons the former president struck out the previous petitions was because he said it was leaked on social media, right? On that basis, what happened? The entire thing was struck out. Now you come out, the CJ, who understands the provisions of Article 146 and the need for the strictness around that whole proceeding, comes out and puts all the information out there. Now, you finish doing that, you make allegations against people, you make a lot of statements, and you refuse to allow yourself to be interrogated by what you yourself have said. That is a little disingenuous for me, you know. Submit yourself to, at least, the journalists also want to. You can't, even if you decide to say the whole process is politicized, those journalists there are not politicians. They just have simple questions for you. That one too you cannot answer. Unfortunately, I do not find any merit in this judicial review, and I completely agree with the Attorney General.
Very well.
Ayene.
Very well. Engineer, let me pick your thoughts. The CJ has gone public with issues she feels based on which